This week's scenario is Recon 2 from the 2017 Steamroller packet. This scenario does have Killbox Artifice in effect and consists of flags which can be controlled for 1 CP by solos, warcasters, and warlocks, rectangular zones which can be controlled by warbeast, warjacks, warcasters, and warlocks, and an objective which can be destroyed for 1 CP. Victory conditions consist of winning 5 more control points than your opponent or caster assassination. Hey everybody, Taodark here. So I'm messing with Fort here, asking for handshakes, and he's gonna ask for one. I'm gonna deny him. This week I decided to bring out my Cephalyx. I actually we recorded this at Nova Open, and I brought both of my Cephalyx lists, my Cyphon list, which is a little bit more armor skewy, merely because Forge card base to base plus Preservance. And then I have Exelon, which is really just dude spam. There are 2 wreckers in the list, and it's nothing but Drudges and Overlords past that. However, when I saw that he was bringing he was bringing Circle with me, I had concerns over not being able to weather the Alpha Strike and him just gobbling up all my dudes. So I went with a list that hopefully the armor would provide him a little bit of a struggle. I know Circle tends to not necessarily, especially Kromac 2 tends to not necessarily deal with it, but I felt like it was a pairing that would best benefit me or give me the best chance. And then, I ended up winning the roll, chose to go first, and chose the left-hand side of the board more for setting tempo than anything else.
Howdy folks, Fort here. Been a while since I've been on the channel. Been a while since I've played Warmachine, and been a long time since I've played Circle. I decided to play Circle because Pokey tends to play Scorn, and I've noticed there's a lot of Scorn video on the channel. So I'm going to give a different faction a try. I didn't want to play Signar in this because I don't have some of the models painted that I really look forward to playing, the Hurricane, that kind of thing. So Circle it was, or is. The table is a great setup for this army that I have. It was randomly generated, believe it or not. I just got lucky. I'm playing the Devouring Host theme force with Kromac 2, Ghetorix or Rager, a couple of Bloodweaver Night Witches, a couple of Tharn Ravager White Mains, a Tharn Ravager Shaman, a couple of units of Tharn Ravagers, both the UAs, and the Death Wolves. The force gives me 1 corpse token for every 10 points of Tharn. I have 70 something points of Tharn, so I get 7 tokens. I'm going to put 1 on each of the Death Wolves, 1 on each of the White Mane, and then pass the other 2 out, I think, to Kromac and to an Old Man of the Forest, the White Mane. I'm going to set up symmetrically here to try to take advantage of this big army against his big army, and this forest that was so nicely placed in the middle of the board.
Mercenaries, turn 1. So, getting the game started, a couple things came into play that I was a little bit concerned with when it came to this play. One was I didn't necessarily feel list advantaged in this list, in this pairing, with the 2 that I had versus the Circle list that he had. So I had to be wary of the speed at which this army moves. Not giving Circle credit for its speed will get you killed. So I end up moving up one of my far flanking units and an Overlord set, and then I end up moving up my monstrosities. I like to spend turn 1 fueling my monstrosities with my Cephalyx Anatomical Precision to be able to just do 1 point if I don't overachieve and roll high on damage. I can do 1 point and feed up my monstrosities. I tend to do 3 where I can in the first turn, so that way when I have to run next turn I can still sit on 2 and then start receiving some of that the focus from damage that my opponent might do to my monstrosities through ranged attacks or something like that. So I'm just kind of going through those steps right there. I'm going to throw Perseverance onto one of the dwarfs that's on the left hand side, just as a way of increasing their armor. I kind of tailed back 1 so that Cyphon could cast on them, and then I'm just going to go through and set up. I want to push forward so that I'm not necessarily going to be completely shut out of the zone, but I don't want to necessarily run my full distance forward and then end up getting myself killed at the anywhere from the top of 2 on. So my end goal for this scenario is that I'm probably going to start leaning heavy on the right-hand side. I need to see how Fort unpacks his army to see where he's going and all that stuff. But with the flag on my right-hand side allowing me to score as long as I'm in base to base, if I can push enough into that scenario, use the force to kind of block some of the charge lanes, then I can possess the right-hand side of the table, start defensively scoring using the flag, and then push somewhere else later.
Well, Taodark did all kinds of crazy stuff over there. I just watched him roll dice and mark off damage. I'm not sure what was going on. I'm not sure what these scenarios, how they play out. I've never played with a 2017 scenario, so it's going to be interesting. I think he has a couple of units of ambushers, and I think he planned on most of his opponents staying away from the edges because of that. I'm just going to not worry about it. If he comes in and whacks a few of my little ladies, that's okay. I guess if you can call apocalyptic, God-worshipping, blood-sacrificing, forest-dwelling pagans ladies, that's what they are. I'm going to park them up on the hill here to try to not get sprayed to death for the most part. My Tharn Ravagers are vulnerable to those sprays, but they're tough, and the Druid's going to go over there and make it so that they can't be knocked. I mean, not the Druid, the Tharn Ravager Shaman. He's going to make it so that they can't be knocked down. That's one of his little abilities. Interestingly enough, Kromac is a Tharn model. So when he's within the command range of that Shaman, he can't be knocked down either if the Shaman plays that particular spell. I was crowing about how great this terrain is for me at the beginning of the video and the beginning of the game. Conveniently forgetting that neither of my beasts have Pathfinder. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to try to keep them safe, and anywhere his army goes, where the heavies are, I'm going to have a path between these two gaps in the woods to get to them, hopefully with my beast, and hopefully these Tharn will tie them up long enough that the beast can get into position to get the alpha strike off on them. I'm not going to be casting very many spells with Kromac. On the first turn, he casts Awakening, and that's it. Actually, I think he cast Awakening and maybe Spiny Growth, and then charge something over there. My little ladies on the other side are going to get in this is a cover. It's a ruins down here, the square thing down at the bottom. They're going to get in that cover to avoid the sprays, to get bonuses from the sprays, whilst trying to turn their facing so that it'll be hard for his ambushing models to get a backstrike on them. And then the Death Wolves are going to run into the front of my army. With those two corpse tokens, they're almost impossible to kill.
Mercenaries turn 2. So, familiarizing myself with the Death Wolves, I've actually never seen them across the table, so I was like, oh, what were these things you just put in front of your caster? Let me see what they're going to do. Are they defensive or offensive? Truth be told, they're both. So I started looking into some things. Is there potential for a feat turn increased speed assassination on Kromac? He went kind of aggressive. If I can pull off a gallows, pull Kromac forward, and then send in both wreckers fully fueled, cool. So I start measuring some of that out to see if that's even something I should tantalize myself with. It ended up becoming a situation where it was too questionable for me. I didn't know necessarily, with my uncomfort level of not knowing how the Death Wolves worked, I didn't necessarily want to hinge my bet on getting gotcha'd on models and then my whole plan go to shit in a handbasket. So I go back to my default plan, which is try and pressure the right-hand side to set myself up for defensive scoring. So I ambush in my unit of Min Slavers, putting them so that they are just off of the camera because they're, can only come in 3 inches off the board edge, but basically able to set up so that they're going to be able to get charges through and back bonuses, so I don't have to worry about the higher defensive of circle or as high a defensive circle. And because of the positioning of some of them, where like the one at the very bottom corner of the rubble, I don't have to enter the rubble, won't slow my speed down. I'll be able to get that off. At the top, I end up leveraging my Overlords. Because I don't have to worry about line of sight with that force being a problem because their sprays ignore line of sight, I can actually nominate an individual that I can't necessarily see to maximize how many people I spray. And then my hope is even though they have boxes, if I can toss out 3 Magic 7 sprays and do a bunch of damage on them, I can thin them out. I'm not looking to wipe out the unit. I don't have any illusions to that. However, if I can weaken them up enough, they won't necessarily have the numbers to be able to go after the dwarves. Respectively, the dwarves are armor 16. They go to 18 when they're base to base. They go to 20 because of perseverance, and they have tough. They are kind of up in that zone to be a pain in the butt and prevent scoring for that zone at least. But I don't want to just hand them over. Like, they're still good weapon master units, so if I can get damage out of them. So by thinning out the Tharns, my hope is that my dwarves will be able to survive in the process. So we're advancing the wreckers up. I put one of the record within 4 of the objective, and that is in the off chance that my opponent puts a heavy or something in the woods, and I can actually measure the 3 inches in the woods to see it. I will have the Pathfinder off of the objective. I chose a Pathfinder objective to be able to go through. In hindsight, you know, when we talked about this later, for it was like, well, you have a Pathfinder spell with Onslaught, why'd you go that? And my philosophy behind it is if I can get Pathfinder off of the objective, then I'm not spending the focus on Onslaught, and I can spend the focus somewhere else. So we move up, and then, though they're not Death Wolves, I advance a unit of Overlords up to protect my wreckers from getting charged. Go into the zone on the bottom right-hand side with some of my Drudges in the hopes of pulling any of the surviving witches out to go after them, and then the follow-up sprays from the Overlords behind them to take them out. I got to get them away from the rubble and the terrain and everything like that, and I got to get them closer so that I can pull off sprays without necessarily having them close enough that they can attack me. So I sacrificed some Drudges for that and then charged with the ambushers.
Well, that turn wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I lost a few of the chicks with sticks, and I lost a few Tharn Ravagers up top. But overall, I'm pretty intact. And now he has to take my turn, and my turn should be pretty bloody. I have a lot of ability to remove from play, a lot of remove tough, and just all kinds of craziness. My priority is going to be to get rid of these spray units if I can. I do not like them, Sam I am. So up top, I measure, and I've got my pieces just a little bit out of position to get to where I need them to be. So I'm going to mini feat with the Tharn Ravagers up top. That gives them overtake. The white mane is within range of a couple of the Tharn are going to be in range of the white mane's command, which gives them +1 to hit. So I'm going to send them after the high defense spray guys, a couple of guys over there. And then the rest are going to go into the dwarves. I don't think the little chicks can crack the dwarves' armor. They're really hard to hurt. Hell, these Tharn may not be able to crack the armor. So the unit up there has 2 guys at 1 health, and then I think he killed 1 guy, and 1 guy at 2 health. So he did some pretty nasty sprays on them. It's their turn to return the favor. Sprays of blood, we mean. Yeah, so we got a token with the leader there. He's going to move forward and make another attack. He does not kill him. Oh, yes, I guess he does. So he's got 1 token. Oh, no, he didn't kill him. The other guy did. So they're sitting on 1 token apiece. Now we're trying to kill these dwarves. We killed the first one, move forward, and attack one in the other pile over there. We got a token off of him, and we're just going to sit there with that token. We used a token, and he toughed, so we don't have a token on that guy. There's a lot of token talk today. So they're done. They killed a few models. Now, the Bloodweaver Night Witch is going to move forward so that she gives these the Bloodweaver chicks with sticks, I can never think of their name. She gives them killing spree if they're within her command, which means if they kill a model, they get to move an inch and make another attack. So that's the plan. I can get 2 charges off and 1 non-charge off, and then I had to run with the other one guy because I'm trying to get gang. They have gang, and so their stabbiness is doing okay against the dwarves, but they're not likely to kill one of these dwarves without that's in base to base with another dwarf without some sort of really high roll. And I only get 1 of them. I even did I failed to break the armor of the knockdown dwarf. So that was unfortunate, but I'm okay with what happened up top up there. He lost a big unit of spray guys. That's a big thing for him against my army. And now I make a mistake here. I think I probably should have gone after the spray guys with the little chicks here because they could reach them. They have Pathfinder and they're speed 7. They could have reached those spray guys in the back there and maybe tied them up for a turn. I decided instead to use them to finish off the ambushing unit, and then use the white mane to try to get deep into his line. I forgot that the white mane doesn't have sprint anymore. That was a big deal, as you'll see in a minute here. I'm gonna send in now the little chicks with sticks are gonna finish off the ambushers. That first little girl down there attacking was the I should say little girl. She's pretty nasty in the Iron Kingdom's lore. The Bloodweaver Night Witch finished off 3 or 4 of his ambushers by herself, and now the Bloodweavers themselves are finishing off the rest of the ambushers that you can't see off the bottom of the screen there. And then they're going to get back into the terrain cover that they can, if they can. Now here goes the white mane. He's deciding if he can, how many he can get. My plan was to try to get 3 or 4 of those models, and with the overtake and everything, he can. But it really only takes one good tough roll by my opponent to put the brakes on him. He'll have one corpse token because he started with 1 as he chops these models down. But you know, one miss and he's done. So he got that first model. Now he's got 2 corpse tokens. He's going to use 1 to. He's going to move forward, use 1 to buy an attack, and he kills that model. But he makes a tough roll. Has to spend 2 corpse tokens to kill him, and then he spends his last corpse token and knocks that other guy down, and he's out of tokens, so he's done. And he can't sprint away anymore. So that was not nearly as bloody as I had hoped it was going to be, but he's in there mixing it up. Now I'm trying to decide what to do with these Ravagers. I've kind of got them all blocked in so that they can't get through each other, so I'm going to have to start with the right side of the line. I'm going to send this into that unit in the middle of the board there. I don't know if they're spray guys. I think they are. And then the other 3 are going to go after the objective. 3 are going to go after the objective, and 1's going to go after that knockdown guy. I think 3 of these guys can kill the objective on the charge. And then the boss is just going to run. He has nothing he can get to. I guess he could have gone after the knockdown guy, but it seemed overkill to me. I decided to mini feat with him as well, and that was probably a mistake because I only got a few guys. I only have really 3 guys that are in position to overtake, and only 2 of them are in a position to overtake anything at all. And they roll really low on their rolls and miss twice on those defense 14 guys. The Tharn Ravager white manes are not in range of them. I do take out the objective, and I'm happy with that. I forget to overtake after killing it with that last guy. So I've got 3 guys, including the boss, that are fully in the forest. There come the Death Wolves. They've got corpse tokens on them, and I'm going to make it a priority to keep at least 1 corpse token on them at all times. Preferably I get 2. I'm not sure that's going to happen because the dwarves are really hard to crack, as I've said. So I hit the first one, and I get him. He doesn't tough. I get a corpse token. I think I'm trying to decide if I want to leave that corpse token on him or not. I would like to get rid of more dwarves, but what the heck, we'll go for it. And we get him because he was knocked down. Now we have 2 corpse tokens on 1 guy and 1 on the other 2. The guy with the axe, he also missed the defense 14 guy. So now I'm down to 1 token on every guy, but I've killed several of the dwarves. I'm not going to spend that last token because if I don't kill him, my guy's vulnerable to being killed himself. And this way, it takes at least 2 attacks minimum to kill him, and likely more. The old man's going to move up into the forest where he likes to be and watch the carnage, preparing for his turn of glory next turn. I've cleared the bottom zone out except for 1 of those dwarves, 2 of those dwarves, and the top zone except for 1 guy. So it was unfortunate that I didn't get that because this is a scoring turn. I would have scored quite a few points if I had done so. I've got 1 point for the objective. Kromac is the only thing that I have left to move that could score on that flag, so he's going to go take the flag.
Mercenaries turn 3. So I have to say I've learned something that I need to respect the corpse token ability that this theme allows them to. I've faced against Tharn before, and they never really necessarily impressed me because a lot of times they had to get work done in order to get work done, if that makes sense. Like they had to have those hearts to actually get work done. So by getting heart tokens early, they have the ability to corpse tokens. I apologize, I don't know which one is hearts or tokens. But they basically they have the ability to start engagements where they can boost hit or boost damage to guarantee them another heart, another token, to then turn around and cleave or sidestep or whatever the case might be to do it again and again and again. And it's not necessarily as like, I don't want to necessarily equate it to like Madrak, Pac-Man style, where it's just go through, but it can get up to that point if you cluster up too much. So I needed to respect that, and I needed to put more distance between my guys so that he couldn't necessarily take out 3 or 4 people if I clustered them up. So I'm going through some activations right here. I've got Tharns in my face on the right-hand side, which is delaying my scoring plan by like a lot. To make matters worse is that he was actually able to take out the objective, remove my Pathfinder potential, and in turn score on his zone. So now he's up 2 and I'm up none, and he's blocking me from scoring. So my scoring scenario, I'm basically just trying to recover back to my default state, which is I want to start scoring on the right-hand zone defensively. I don't think I was aggressive enough to that right-hand zone to protect it so that he could get in. So he's got this presence on his right-hand side, my left-hand side, and my right-hand side is being contested. Could I remove it? Sure, but there's a couple of elements that are going to be super annoying. One is that Gorax that has just got like the sliver of its toe touching the far corner of that of my right zone, which is behind a forest. Now that the Pathfinder is removed, I have to commit, and then because Cephalyx can no longer see through forest, because Eyeless Sight doesn't allow through forest, I don't have the ability of just throwing Onslaught up and watching my Wrecker go beaten off through the woods to kill the Gorax. So it becomes a situation where I activate one of the Wreckers to go in and kind of do some damage, clear up the zone, clear up some of the Tharn, get these heart-chewing bastards out of my face. But I'm playing a defensive game, which is not a good sign. I need to be aggressive, so I need to find a way of getting rid of the Gorax. I've kind of handled the sisters. I'm letting the dwarves hold on hope to that left-hand side, so that if he can't score, if he'll be able to score the flag, but if he can't score the flag on the zone, it's a slower trickle of his CPs over my CPs, and then look for him to be thinned out enough that I can just force an assassination or force some sort of contesting into that area. So here's the doors and everything are going through, and here's the joys of the wolves. So the death wolves have the ability that if they have a heart on them, they can just basically go, cool, did you damage me? I don't care. Now these wolves all started with 1 token on them to begin with, and then they end up accruing tokens when they went in to get some damage on the drudges that I had over there. So they have a bunch of tokens on them. I officially was like, oh, I'll just clear this out and I'll send one of my Wreckers over to threaten Kromac and force him away from the flag. Yeah, that's not so much. Those guys just don't die. Like, they either kill you and get heart tokens so that next turn they don't die, or they don't die and then they kill you next turn because they didn't die. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Well, Taodark's turn cleared a few things out, but it left me with in a pretty good position. I scored another point, but so did he. As I couldn't contest that bottom flag, he finally got enough stuff down there that I couldn't contest it. This turn I'm going to try to pick up 2 points and give him none. Put me at a 4 or a 5 to 1, which should let me win on 7 to 1 on the next turn, because I don't think I'm going to give him any way to get more than 1 point on his turns. That's the plan, at least. This math is these scenarios are difficult to figure out, I guess, for me at least, this is the first time I've played them. So I clean out a bunch of his guys. I can't get to that last solo that's sitting on the flag. But I am going to put all my Tharn that I can on this one beast or jack or whatever the hell that thing is. Was it monstrosity? Monstrosity that's sitting in my in. I guess I should say it's not my zone, but we want it to be our zone. It belongs to all of us. We're the circle. So I put 3 guys on him. That's probably not going to kill him, but it should make him be very, very, very hurt. And the rest of the guys are going to just chop on these funky-looking octopus people. I hit him and hurt him. Hit him and hurt him. Hit him and hurt him. I think he's left with like 7 or 8 boxes after all of this. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 9. I missed that guy. That defense 14 is a thing with... oh, no, I don't miss him. I hit him. It just didn't kill him. So now I'm going to send the white mane in. He's going to try to chop up some of these dwarves. There's remnants of the dwarves. I probably did it in the wrong order. I think I should have killed the guy commanding the dwarves in the back there first, and that would have helped out a little bit, maybe. Took away tough from them or something. I think that's what it does. So I got him knocked down. The little chick is going to move to block the line of sight from that dwarf so you can't get a free strike on her as she runs by to stab the other guy. That's her friend and runs by to stab the other guy. And they're doing stabbing motions on this knockdown dwarf until he finally gives it up. And then we kill the last guy there, and then we stab the UA, and doesn't kill him. He may be the last of the unit. No, he's got 2 more dwarves left, I think. Here comes the other unit of Ravagers up top. They're going to charge. Just a couple of them are going to just walk around. They're just getting into position to clear out these dwarves up top so that I can score in this zone. Score 2 points in this zone. And I do. That was the last of the dwarves. So now the Death Wolves are deciding how they're going to handle this. They've all got 1 corpse token. I want to get 2 on them to make them a really good wall against that beast or that monstrosity getting anywhere without trampling, I guess. And the first guy misses the UA, but no, we find out that actually he did hit him, and he kills him and gets the corpse token. And now the other ones are just going to go stab the last dwarf, and then the other guy's going to stab that tentacle monster beast thing, the bad demon Hente monster, and use a second attack on the monstrosity. And then those guys are done, and they're in good position. Shaman's going to walk over here and do a no knockdown for Tharn. I don't really want to have some out of nowhere assassination on Kromac happening. Plus it makes the tough Tharn a little bit harder to deal with. Gorax is going to back up, so he's just sitting in the corner of that zone, so if he clears it out, he doesn't score, and then I'm going to score 2 points.
Mercenaries turn 4. So the writing's starting to appear on the wall. I'm just the amount of Tharn that are weighing in is too much. I don't have a clear path on Kromac. I am barely holding on to contesting his zone. I can't get to his objective. So I'm not sure necessarily what I can do in this scenario. I brought a bunch of hearts for him to do a lot of damage to my army. And I think I may have not necessarily respected, like I said, didn't respect that token mechanic enough for what it would allow him to do to my army. I've still got my heavies there, I've still got all of, getting some damage done out of them. God knows my solos are cabbing the flag, so I don't have to put Cyphon in danger of that. My dwarves have been, honestly, I know a lot of people poo-poo the dwarves, but when they get an armor buff and they can just kind of hunker down in a zone and go, no, you're not getting points here, that's awesome. I almost wonder if it wouldn't have been a better scenario of having the dwarves go to the right-hand side and then use the entire rest of my army to go to the left-hand side. And just be like, okay, I know you're not going to get this zone, and if I have a solo on my back end scoring that flag, then cool, and then the rest of my army can just shove into his zone. If that wouldn't have been a better game scenario. Going through, trying to clear out some these Tharn, it becomes a situation where when I'm playing a game like this and it's like, okay, I'm not going to win the game, I change my mentality away from how do I win this game to how do I not lose this game. So the hope is, can I gum it up? Can I contest for one more turn in the hopes that the next turn gives me something I didn't see before, or my opponent makes a mistake or something like that. So can I win this round? No, it's completely identified that there's no way for me to do it on scenario, there's no way for me to do it through assassination, and I am not winning up on attrition. So if I change my gears from I want to win this turn to I just don't want to lose this turn, I keep my caster safe, I keep the zones as contested as I can, with what limited I have. So I put my I trample over. I moved Perseverance over to my Warden, which has a shield, so he has a higher armor value than the Wreckers, and I threw Perseverance on him. So I basically threw Feet and Perseverance and Wrecker. I'm basically shoving my jacket into, or my monstrosity into a zone, going, you have to deal with this armor 22, 23. Warden, full box Warden sitting in your zone, and then I've got my Wrecker in the other zone and my caster safe. So I'm just moving to a state of I'm trying not to lose, in hopes that my follow-up turn after Fort finishes his turn, in my follow-up turn something presents itself, be it an assassination or something like that, or at the very least I can walk away from the game going, well, at least I didn't get my squishy caster killed. So we're in game state, don't lose, and let's see what happens in our follow-up turn.
Well, Taodark was able to get a beast or monstrosity into the zone, but that monstrosity is looking at Kromac and Ghetorix, and one of those two can clean him out of the zone. I have to move the Shaman back to control the flag. I have no other solos up there. I guess I could run the Night Witch back. I didn't see her. But yeah, and then all I have to do is kill the beast. If I feat with Kromac, that makes Carnage be cast for free, and everybody in my battle group is +2 strength, +2 armor, which should be enough to finish off this guy. I would be highly surprised if he doesn't die. Kromac himself should kill him without any help. So we're just going to move to clear a path. Kromac can see him along the edge of that forest, and so he can charge him through that forest. And so here we go. He's going to feat, charge. He's sitting on full focus or full fury and a token, -1 for the upkeep of the awakening spell. He hits and goes to town. He is at pretty high health, I think, but Kromac hits like a truck right now. So a truck beating on a truck. Taodark laughed and thought that I wouldn't get him with all of my focus stack. I'm going to have focus left. Yep. So he's dead. Game over. 7 CP. I kind of like this new 2017 stuff. It makes you think a little more, maybe.
Let me start out by saying, who the hell goes to war against Circle of Orboros in a forest? Mistakes were made. That being said, so it wasn't a win for us. We didn't, the game plan of don't lose, though it was my best option at the time, wasn't enough to carry me to the next turn. My opponent was able to remove the Warden, control the zone, control the flag, get his necessary points to win on scenario. As I mentioned earlier, I think maybe there might have been an opportunity for me to leverage, if I'd known how well the Perseverance would have worked, maybe just throwing the Perseverance onto my right-hand side with an agitator to score, an agitator solo to score the flag, and then just basically sit there and go, you're not going to get anything in this zone, and I'll defensively score with my agitator, and that's fine with me, and then the rest of my army shove into the other zone. Fort and I talked about it later. We both kind of agreed that not only was it kind of a list disadvantage for me, but it could have theoretically been a table disadvantage. Now that Eyeless Sight doesn't affect force, there was like 3 huge chunks of force in the game. But that doesn't necessarily is any sort of defendable excuse for losing the game. It's just, this is the table you get at. Like when you go to a tournament, you can't control it. These are matches that will happen. But I was able to hold it out. I was able to protect myself, defensively score. I gave it the best I had, and we'll try again next time.